Hey, it's Tim, Pickup Truck Plus SUV Talk, and I have a great one for you today. I have an owner kind of comparison, kind of discussing Tundra video. So if you're really into Tundras, looking for a new truck, go ahead and pop top, sit back, relax, get a little something in your coffee. You want to get that going. With my friend Steven here, he has an SR5, 8-foot bed double cab, and as you know, the channel, we have the crew cab, 5.5-foot bed limited. So not only does he have like 8,000 miles, I have like 6,000 miles from that range. Not only do we have miles on a truck, we've owned it for a while, we have a whole list of things we want to talk about. We have a lot more to talk about off the screen, but we're going to show you some differences of trucks and kind of talk about bed lengths and talk about a bunch of things. So that's 8-foot bed, excuse me, 5.6.5, 8-foot bed. So a lot of differences. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to talk about exterior, interior, a little bit different changes there, because he's got the smaller screen, I have the bigger screen. We have some different changes there. We have likes, dislikes. We're going to do for a drive too, because there's something about the driving on this that is a little interesting conversation too we want to make sure in the video. So a lot of stuff going on. So again, sit back, pop top what you need to do. Let's go and get started on all that right now. Okay, let's start with the obvious differences, and we'll kind of be in the screen, out of the screen. It's a little windy today, so what's going on? But let's start with let's step back for 1 second and show the exterior SR5, right? And so no Fu Manchu mustache. I have the mustache. It's interesting. I don't know. I like my color better. I think the blue stands up better. I like the silver, but I like the color match better. SR5 versus that.
Kind of just blends in a little bit better.
Yeah. And then
doesn't stick out as much.
I have that level kit on mine, right? And so you can see the level is a little bit different. And then I have different lights than you do.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Because it's TRD.
Right. So I mean, looks like I have projector headlights, right? And so these are just regular halogens. And so coming over here,
oh, I see that.
we have the differences there. So I don't know. So so let's get to the pricing real fast before we hide that detail. You were 48, is what you said in the one video?
47.5.
47, yes. And I was like 61, whatever. I can't remember the exact number. So I mean, we have
definitely price difference.
Yeah, we have like $12,000 difference. Let's just say 12, around that amount. So
you'll see what you get here.
Right. And so I have chrome door handles. You have the regular like matte black, right? I have color matched on the body for the mirror caps. I have power mirrors.
I have manual folding
mirrors. You have man mirrors.
Man mirrors.
Come around the side. We can see. We'll talk more about double cabs. Interesting stuff going on there. But we have the beds are different, right? So we got our beds down. Been checking this out. So we have 8-foot bed here, and we have 5.5-foot bed here. And so I don't know. I mean, you could. It's. What do we got? 2.5-foot difference is what it comes out to be, but it is massive. Oh, it looks. I mean, in person, it just looks massive.
It's a limousine back there.
Right.
And from the back of the bed to the back of the tailgate down, it's 10 feet even.
Yeah, I was thinking about measuring mine. I believe mine's 7. So there's a good difference is there. I have the quick release tailgate. He does not.
Button.
Right. So it's a special button. But you have a spray and bed liner.
I do, and that's awesome. For just traction and extra durability. That being said, I also added the mat.
Right.
Just because I throw a lot of really heavy metal things in here, and sometimes they go in a little harder than I'd like. Sometimes the forklift is coming in at a certain way that I don't want to scrape my bed, even though it's super durable. So yeah, I just like that extra padding.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this. This is much nicer. I mean, it's almost like Sandgrit sandpaper. If you don't recognize Steven, he did a video at TFL, and it really, you can hold your feet well. Yeah. This, without it,
it's slick.
Slick as snot. It's slick as snot. Holy cow!
With my boots,
I've been in the wintertime and I've seen ice just kind of like roll out of it. It's nice. The bed is always clean because nothing can stick on it, right? And then there was a comment you made about not being as wide as prior generations, and it's not. A little bit narrow on the wheel wells. The thing here, though, that I learned is actually this bed here, this composite bed, is at a little bit of an angle. Mm-hmm. If you look closely, you can see right down the line on the bottom comes at an angle a little bit more. I had never noticed that before, but it turns out that's the way it is on the Tacoma in the same composite bed. And talking to the engineering team, it's because the mold they use, the machine they use to build this bed,
it's to slip out.
You have to slip it out.
Gotcha.
It has to be an angle. You can't do flapping down when they build it. So it's got to be. So you making a joke about how much room you have behind that bed and your steel outer panel.
Sure, there's a huge space.
Right.
That you could have a storage compartment, or it could have been expanded, but I guess it makes sense
because of the
manufacturing.
Angle.
They've got to pull it out of the mold, and
it's
their solution.
It is one of those things. We were both discussing on screen how much we love this feature.
Oh yes,
it's the greatest thing ever, right? And so I put the bed step on.
Yep,
the fancy bed step on.
My bed step should be coming in Friday, so
right. He ordered one.
I won't be the poor cousin,
right? Which I mean, this thing you really do need. I mean, it does come down, and look at that. See, right up top, and then that's the weird part for me.
Yeah, but
I don't have the dexterity to do that.
It's
really.
This,
right? So that's right.
And you get in, okay.
And you can do that 500 times a day, right? Yeah.
I mean, you're forced to using a truck to actually work with. So, I'm used to it at this point, but I'd like to have a step, or at least easy access in a truck. It's a truck. You're supposed to be able to get in and out of it. It's not.
And let's be clear here. We both like our trucks.
I do.
Like, people always like, you hate it, whatever. No, we both like the truck.
Yeah.
All we're trying to say is these are things we've learned in the last couple of months of ownership and last couple months of driving. So don't be like, these guys obviously hate it. No, we do like them. So,
and even my list of, I've got about 15, 14 things of things I like, things I don't like. Overall, I do like the truck.
Right.
And I can get into more of that later, but
So let's do this real fast. So we have the crew cab back here, but we both notice this. We both have the same issue.
The tab.
But he's got, I have it on, I think both sides. You have it on just your driver's side, right? So your side here you said was fine.
Yeah, this side looks okay.
So you have a little gap there, but it doesn't stick up.
And I've never really messed with that. So
right. So, and then on the driver's side. And he's got tinted windows, which I got to be honest with you, I'm kind of a fan of those. I get in this truck, it's nice and dark.
Yeah, I like how the tinted windows kind of blend with the, I guess, the black wrap that they add. It just kind of continues that.
It looks really good,
context but there's my little tabby.
Right.
And that's probably the only quality control or thing that's like, oh, that kind of sucks. That should be there, or they didn't cut it long enough. I don't know. For me and my truck, I've heard some owners that are like, oh, there's a bigger gap on this side than that side of the bed, or something. And I've only really found this, and I'm pretty particular about things I notice.
I mean, here's the thing. It's like, and I've argued with people all the time. The expectations of the customer has changed when you start spending more and more money for these trucks.
Absolutely.
And so, if this is an $80,000 capstone edition, whatever, your dealership's on the fit about that, right? But if this is an SR5 work truck, maybe you don't care. It's just expectations changed, and I think that is the thing I tell people is don't go to the dealer to get that fixed, because there really is no fix yet. They got to get the supplier to make it a little bit longer piece, and then that's gonna be solved. But it is interesting.
It's got to feed into obviously a tab. There's some catch that's not able to being. A lot of these are they're all built in Texas, right? Mm-hmm. So that's another thing. It's an environment that's probably typically more humid, and maybe once you bring it out of that element and to drier, maybe, I don't know.
So, I mean, a lot of times they do testing in the mountains and testing throughout the country, but I don't know if that's something they really pay attention to when they're testing. They're probably looking at transmission temperatures, engine temperatures, performance, that kind of stuff. And I had the same issue with my door. I had that rattle issue with the door lock, and that was humidity issue. That was humidity warmth issue.
On that door note, the one issue with a rattle, my driver's side door has something with the speaker. It
rattles?
I've got bass going, and maybe it's not typical. It's not very loud, but something in here is vibrating as if it's a 100,000-mile truck that's been four-wheeled a lot, and
interesting.
It's annoying. I've heard one owner where they say, "Oh, I just pressed my knee against here hard." I'm like, "Oh, you shouldn't have to do that at all.
Right.
So obviously there's some sort of plastic in here that has some, it's reacting to the vibration from the base, and it's annoying.
Yeah, guys, on a $60,000 truck, it's not your knee, it's not duct tape either, right? It's got to be right.
Yeah, even 45, 47, I think
you still
a new truck should be pretty polished, well refined, and then maybe it falls apart.
Right. While we're here, since we have the door sticker, because I think the door sticker is always interesting, 1,515 pounds of payload.
With,
yes.
Oh, yes.
But you have a real number. You have a 16-pound number, 35 pounds. Sorry, kilogram, 35 pounds of weight. And
I mean, maybe that was due to the floor mats that they added.
I got to do my chin rub thing here because I'm like,
what's 35-pound deduction?
I
did add the running boards.
Yeah, but the running, I mean, that's a lot of running board stuff, and you don't have a panel moonroof,
no.
So you don't have nothing. I mean, I don't understand that one, but
and my screen's a lot smaller.
Yes, so basically it's the same.
I like.
Yeah, it's a smaller screen. It's interesting. We're gonna do some driving comparisons. You have a little slot above the.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I don't have that one.
Snacks.
Yeah,
phones,
I have the same thing
gear.
here, but I never use that because I can't see it behind my screen.
Oh yeah, that's the hidden.
Right,
black hole.
That's a black hole. But speaking of room, this is massive as far as what I talk about is this cabin space, the double cab. I mean, okay, so I know you have kids.
Yep, I have two kids, a 8-year-old and a 5-year-old.
Right.
So the 8-year-old's very tall. He's, 56 inches tall. So he doesn't need a booster. He weighs 60 plus pounds.
Yeah, so he's legal without the booster, but the biggest thing is we have two things back here. We're going to talk about grommets in a minute, but legroom. Oh, yeah. I was shocked by the legroom in this.
Oh, I was shocked too. I'm coming from a 2014 where, in all intents and purposes, it's perfect for the kids, and even an adult can squeeze back there. And most importantly, in the center, an adult could squeeze in the Gen 2, because the cup holders folded back into the center console. In this model or Gen, the cup holders extend back, so yes, you do have seating for 3, but that middle seat is probably, maybe they have no legs, or from knees down. No,
I don't know. Yeah,
so,
it's nothing. So
I'm 5'8".
So he's 5. So we're the same height. We just and I have more insulation than he does.
My seat's set up for a 5'8" person. I do have a backer because I don't want my kids' feet.
Right.
And
yeah.
So I have a solid 3 inches. I'm comfortable. I'm fine here. Now, let's say go in the middle. I do have boots on, but that's not happening.
And before we leave, but we want to talk about this real fast, because this was
serious.
This was a serious thing. Really interesting point you brought up.
And I brought this up to Toyota Care, or the customer service. I think it's a serious issue that they're going to have something really sad happen. So we were in the neighborhood, had my kids in the car, and I was going about 25 miles an hour. A dog came across the street very fast. I had to brake hard so I didn't hurt the dog. But subsequently, my kids, nobody's ready for when you brake hard, right? Mm-hmm. And subsequently, they got their seatbelts on, they went forward, but they came back hard. And their heads, right here, you see this grommet, this plastic casing, it's not very inset from the actual padding, both sides. And my kids immediately started crying, and the older one that's taller, his head's up here, he had a huge welt. It was not good. And I'm thinking, okay, 25 miles an hour produces that. If you get into an accident and somebody's head is lower, even an adult that's shorter, that doesn't need a booster, that's going to crack a skull. And that's going to be a problem. And in the past Tundras, I remembered how they had the, adjuster on the side, and it wasn't as, it didn't protrude out as much. So I think some thought needs to go into this, or increasing padding here. I noticed in yours with the soft techs that, or maybe just the fact that it's a limited, you do get a little extra padding.
Yeah, let's go check that out. I think it's
so I'm curious.
I'm curious about that too. I mean, it is a big safety issue. I think it's a great point to brought up, and it's again, it's real world usage after so many months of ownership.
Right.
Things you're like, oh wait, that's a real thing. So let me bring you over to roominess.
Oh, look at this.
I don't know if you need a cold drink.
Yeah,
you need a cold drink and the foot up. We got a massage therapist coming in our way. But
perfect.
Yeah, so let's check out this. Let's
I mean,
see
look
you
at
in
the
the back.
size of this.
The door
is huge compared to.
Ignore the bird mark. I did clean this up. But yeah, so let's have you hop in here.
The blueprint is really
Did I
pretty.
lock it again? Oh, this darn thing.
Oh, I think it auto locked.
It does. That's one of the companions. It does auto lock. All right, so hop in there and let's see how much room you have here.
Oh man. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, I said to people all the time, like,
That's I'd say 8
and we're about the
inches.
same height, so our seats are set about the same. And then I would
And
say,
you have this. Why? Come on.
oh, you don't have that.
Oh no.
Oh.
I don't think any of the SR5s. I'm not even sure the SR5 Limiteds come with this. I could be wrong. Someone will correct me, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, so many comments. And I have USBs back here, which you looked into adding USBs in yours, but
I took apart the center console, the back, just to see what sort of wiring is in there. Because a lot of times in previous models, you got the wiring in there and you can just ad hoc. In my scenario, or maybe in all of Tundra's platforms now, all the wiring is in place for what is going to be in the truck, and it's not where you can plug and play later. That being said, there is either the electrical or the transistor part to have heated seats in the back. That's never going to happen. But
wait a minute. Are you saying your kids aren't worth heated seats?
but even in the center,
Yeah, you can still. You got the transmission hump, which I'm not. I love a flat loading floor, but
and we'll get into that.
Right.
This is nice.
Yeah.
That being said, I remember my old SR5, and it was more comfortable in the center. I think it has to do with this, which
yeah, it's with the.
This is nice. I like this. If for just having 2 kids, this is sweet. But comfort-wise, that's a hard piece of material back there.
Well, let me ask you this. So you brought soft touch seats, so you haven't spent that much time. You've been in my truck a little bit.
This is the first time I've ever seen them.
What's your initial thoughts?
They feel awesome.
Yeah, and we're gonna go for a drive a little later. So
they definitely feel slick. If I had slacks on, I'd be sliding all over it. But if I could have gotten that option in my truck, which also would have gotten me power seats, they look great.
Yeah.
They look plush, and that's what I was saying. This grommet seems to be a little bit set.
Yeah, it's more inset. Like,
so maybe the fabric is, I don't know.
Interesting. That's what you get when you spend more money on soft touch. Kids don't get nuggets in the back of their heads.
It's all about the children.
It is.
And that's the other thing. The past gen with the floorboard and the lower hump. Was there a hump?
I think there was a
slight.
It doesn't feel like it's pronounced as it is these days.
The biggest thing that I immediately noticed was this case that is underneath where you can store all your rifles and your ammunitions and stuff. But I actually personally do not like it. In my profession, I haul things in the back, I haul things in the front, and one of the biggest things was being able to pull up my seat and having floor space, even in my old SR5. And it was crew cab still. It wasn't the Crew Max. Or rather, it was the double cab, not the crew cab. But I was able to actually put in a 2-foot square object. In this one, I actually have a hard time putting in some basic tools. So it's a little annoying without hitting like the seat or like jamming it in there. Before is like, oh, I can put a square foot thing in here.
It's interesting. All right, let's check Payload real fast. Make sure we talk about that because that's always going to come up with the comments.
Oh yeah.
Gotta know what the number is because it's not a published number you can find online, which is frustrating as heck. But so
wait, what is that?
Oh,
what are these?
Those are power.
What? Oh, I have power envy.
Is that number one on your dislike list? Is power seats?
I think so. Mostly, I mean, when these were launched, there wasn't a whole lot of information. I think Toyota was just trying to get the truck out there, get people excited. But when I first got my paperwork, it said 4-way adjustable seats. It didn't say manual, it didn't say power. So, you know, I guess I was, you know, playing like, oh, a $45,000 vehicle should automatically come with power, even if it's 4-way. I was just expecting, but then later on, the updates of the material came out, and it sure enough said manual. So I was super bummed by that. And granted, you can build the truck, and to get just the power, and it also gives you heated seats, is only $2,200. So, something around there. Someone will correct me. But you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit. Well,
that's the way Toyota works, yeah. 1,400 pounds of payload of mine. My sticker has 0 kilograms, 0 pounds added, and I have the panoramic moonroof. So, was it 100 pounds, basically, right? 100 pounds. You had 1,500, I have 1,400, something like that, yeah. So.
Yet I have
you have an 8-foot bed. Yeah, you have that much big. Yeah, and I have the bigger. So, I think it's time that we go for a little drive. I'd love to get your thoughts on you driving this with the. So my seat moves forward on you and gets set up, and
yeah, I'm just gonna like the fact that I'll be able to raise the seat up.
Right.
Probably all I need is like 1.5 inches. I mean, literally. And I've tried the pads where it's like a leather memory foam for your butt, but I actually prefer the seat and how it grabs and how it fits in here, even though I'm compromising my height or my viewing angle. So I can't wait to adjust my seat actually so I can see over the hood. You know, I'm 5'8". I think most people should be able to see over the hood, and just the fact that, you know, a 45K or SR5s don't have power seats. Come on. I have a power rear window, but not power seats, or even just the driver's side. That could be a very, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
I don't work at
Toyota. So on this channel, Joseph Nello, 5-foot wonder, talks about this a lot, seating position, and people try to make fun of her sometimes being short and whatever, just short person problems. But I think that this happens more than people think, and I think it actually happens with tall people, the reverse side, where their head is in the moonroof, and people talk to me all the time about they don't want panoramic moonroof as a taller person because they want the more headroom.
Oh yeah, the amount of headroom I have in my truck, I could easily wear like 3 cowboy hats.
Yeah,
I got like 12 inches.
I have like 1 cowboy hat. I don't have to pull 3 off, but no. It's an issue if you're tall or short, if you're short or fat, if whatever the issue is going to be. But tall or short, fat or thin, I should say. But yeah, so.
And you have the heated, your isotoner. I can't say that.
right.
You got the heated steering wheel. That's awesome.
I don't love that one. It doesn't heat all the way around.
Yeah, and to be honest,
I wear gloves a lot even when it's on. I don't know. Some fans work better. I have the TRD pedals.
Yeah,
the TRD red start button.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I guess I can paint it red.
Yeah. Well, you're crafty like that. Yeah. So, anyways, I want to get the list of the thing you have on your list. I want to go for a drive. I want to do more stuff about these trucks. So let's go ahead and load it up.
Cool.
Right. Oh, the seat's so low. Oh, wait. We got these adjustables.
Well, wait, before we do that, start it up.
Right.
It should move you in a little bit. Why didn't it move you in? Interesting.
It's just recognizing 2 keys.
Oh, yeah.
How funny would that be if it recognized
It's probably confused, yeah. Okay, I'm going to close the panel because it's nice.
Wow.
Big fan of panels, but it creates a lot of glare on the screen.
Is that where you sat? How far back?
No, it usually moves forward for me.
Okay.
I have a power moves me in, moves me out, whatever. I think it's interesting it didn't sit. And so we were just talking. He has a holder here in his dash. I'll show that on the screen. That's true. You know, there's lumbar in that seat too.
Yeah, I can feel that. It feels
I had to use that a little
very
bit.
Prominent. They overall feel a little bit more stiff, but the fact that you can adjust them is like, come on.
And then there's driver set buttons there, plus it can link to your profile too.
Yeah.
So you can, definitely set it up any way you want to.
And you can fold in your mirrors. That's awesome. Let's see what else we got here. Look, the TRD there.
Yeah.
I looked at replacing that whole unit, and it's pretty involved. And this, what's that with the trailer?
That's an automatic backup trailer. So there's a story about fishing and backing up boats at boat launch. You can press that button, hands-free, it'll back up the trailer for you.
Wow. Wow. That's pretty cool.
And then
locking diff.
Locking diff, yep.
So in mine, you've got 5 buttons, one of which is your emergency lights, hazard lights. And in mine, while I have these toggle spaces, it's just emergency.
So, and I have heated and cooled seats.
Yep. Have some envy there.
Yeah.
I would just like the heated, being in Colorado.
Yeah, the cool's
whatever.
not a big deal.
Is what it is.
And then,
I do have the trailer brake set up. That's great because in my last 14 model, while it actually was wired for it and I could have implemented the braking system, I ended up just having a brake controller, that went down here.
Yeah, I've used those and I've left marks over my knees.
Yeah.
If you just slide your knee, it's hard metal and
oh man,
it cuts.
Yeah.
So what's your initial impressions on the larger screen?
It's a lot bigger, but at the same time, it doesn't bother me. Maybe the top seems a little big. I could definitely see how that space definitely seems like a black hole.
Yeah, I don't ever use that storage space because you can't see it.
It's hidden a lot more, but I don't know. I kind of like it. It's definitely a tablet size. I'm very used to mine. I didn't have a large touch screen. Well, I guess there was a screen in my last one, but it wasn't the new platform. So I love how the map is very visible.
Yeah, it's very vibrant, and I'll move the camera in a minute, but I always have mine in nighttime mode anyways. I never use, white is your daytime.
Sure.
I just can't stand it. Every vehicle, Presto, whatever I get, I always turn it to black because I just find it, it's tough to see.
All right, do you have the 35-gallon tank, 32-gallon tank?
32, yeah.
Okay, mine came with the 26-gallon tank. Or the smaller tank, whatever that may be.
I think it's 32. Again, YouTube will correct me when I'm done. But it's one of the things you have to know about that tank, which people don't always grasp, is that they have a large reserve. Right. And so you're not going to, I mean, you've filled up your truck many times.
Yeah.
You don't go immediately 24. It usually like 21. They tend to stop.
I don't know. I remember my old truck, once I hit 20 miles, my E-light came on, and I never pushed it that much further. On this truck, I'll drain the gas down to, I don't know, 40 miles left or so, and it's easily going to be 25 to 26 and a half gallons.
Really? Okay.
And that can be before the E-light even comes on. So I'm curious maybe my tank size is 28.
Yeah, I mean,
I know it's not the big one.
Right.
Because actually that was one of the surprise things when I got the truck. I was like, oh yeah, cool, I'm gonna have a huge tank. And then I saw the specs from the dealer and I was like, oh, it's got the small tank. Oh well. The nice thing about that right now is gas prices aren't as expensive for me. That said, I think I'm right around $95 every time I fill up. And a lot of times I'm doing double swipe.
Yeah,
which was a new thing I've experienced.
I hate the gas station doing that
because I use our local grocery store where I gain, earn some points, and I'm sure that gas is crappy for the truck, but at $3.80, I'm fine with that. But I do double swipe, and usually that double swipe is literally for anywhere from 0.2 of a gallon to a gallon. But I like to have a full tank just to keep my documentation of mileage as true as possible. So typically after I refill up, my distance to empty from what my heads up display says, which is identical to what mine shows, is right around 493 to 505, depending on if I've been driving in the mountains or sitting on a freeway. And
you were talking about that your average lifetime is like 18 average and 19 best?
Yeah, so
while I have achieved 23 miles per gallon on my trip computer, sustaining that over an entire tank of gas for me has been impossible. And I've had it roughly averaged out on the amount of tanks or fill-ups. I'm at 18.3 right now.
Okay.
My old 14 model, it was the EFF model, so it could take flex fuel. While I never put in the flex fuel, I always got 15 miles a gallon. And when towing, yes, definitely worse, but without towing, I was a standard 15. So I think it was probably overall better than most. So I was kind of really hoping for getting 5 miles a gallon better overall in the new truck. And maybe it's because we're in a higher altitude. I don't know. But it's a little lackluster for me.
Well, yeah, but you know that nobody buys a full-size truck fuel economy, right?
Yeah, I heard that. Heard that, and everyone's like, oh, it's just winter gas. Oh, it's turbo breaking in. Oh, it's this. I'm like, okay, sure. But, you know, I drive very reserved to get the best gas mileage possible. That being said, on the freeway, I definitely go over the speed limit. And I go over to get down to Denver or wherever as fast as possible, safely as possible. And that's also another thing. So I'm achieving, you know, 18.3 miles a gallon while driving, I'd say, fast on the freeway. But at the same time, I'm not flooring it. I am trying to, you know, I get up to the speed I want, and I actually don't use cruise at all. I find I trust my own legs to achieve the best mileage possible. So, you know, I want to see that RPM, and I listen and feel for that engine as it downshifts. I'm real cognizant about that. The one real nice thing is when towing, I've got like an 18-foot deck over flatbed. It may be 2,500 pounds. And then I'll tow anywhere from 250 pounds on it, but it's a very long piece or whatever, to 4,000 pounds on the trailer. And I can actually, and it's between usually Denver or around Colorado using I-25. And I can actually average 16 miles a gallon pulling a trailer, and that's good.
I know. I mean, I've done my testing with that too, and I was shocked at how well this thing has towing mile per gallon.
Yeah. Granted, you know, I'm not going over I-70 like a pass, or it's prolonged, or going through Kansas, you know, with wind.
Yeah, don't go through Kansas. Nebraska is okay, but Kansas.
Yeah, who knows about that? It's a lovely state, actually, to drive through. And in the past, I've driven, let's see, my 08 and my 14 through Kansas, trying to get down, do a lot of work in Arkansas, and that wind can beat you down to where you're getting 5-8 miles a gallon towing. So I will be towing down there at some point, probably with a full trailer, a full load, and it'll be interesting. I remember it was so windy, and I'll drive, you know, a 15-hour shot. There's zero stopping for me, and the wind or the exhaust was so hot that my mud flap was up against it the whole time. Anyways, it was completely melted down.
Well, you just gotta stop at your local O'Reilly and get Yosemite Sam, right? Or the Naked Lady. I mean, you gotta. Yeah. You know, these things are really good truck things.
Or the spiky hub wheels.
Yes,
I've seen those now on little trucks now. I'm like, you're gonna hit your ankle on that sometime. And
well, go ahead and put it in gear. Let's go for a drive, because
Let's check it out.
I have lots of other questions for you, but
this is cool. Look, I would love to see around my.
Hold on, let me show it. I got this other camera.
Wow.
So we're talking about. So I'm gonna get a little bit zoom a little bit, so it doesn't flicker too bad.
So is that active? Like,
okay,
if a child walked around, or is that actively showing what's on the around the truck.
Yeah, that's real.
Oh, that's awesome.
So, I mean, it's got 4 cameras, so there's one in each section, and it takes these and makes a composite image over top of your vehicle.
Gotcha.
And then I think this one is the way, yeah, you can press a button and zoom in, and so you can zoom in on that stuff. And then this is, you can turn it on or off or auto. As you pull to a stop sign, you'll see this. It'll pop on, and you're in what, drive or reverse? You're in drive. So yeah, drive. It's popping on. So so the auto will turn on for that.
What's awesome about this, especially if you tow, which I would love, there's at least, I'd say, 9 feet, 10 feet behind your truck that you're able to view. If I had that, I could view.
Yeah, let me
you know,
let me record my cell phone, because my cell phone won't flicker like the GoPro does.
Right.
But yeah, so you can see behind you with that. And I click the button, you can zoom in. But one of the things that I will caution you about with this is that you turn into I would call it a parking Nazi. Like you pull back and pull back and pull back because you're concerned about that. But this is the auto. You can turn the front camera on or off it as you want. And the thing is, like, you do a lot of off-roading, like, you know, these camera angles,
those are awesome
for off-roading situation.
And can you run the camera while driving?
You can at
20 miles an hour.
Yeah, it's a low speed. Yeah. Okay. And then this is
so I have this info,
right?
But I access it through the
that the driver. It's called a driver information center. It's that screen there. But yeah, I'm not fully savvy on. But yeah, that's. And then you have a mirror, a basic O'Reilly mirror special camera
thing.
Look
at that.
And this is the camera mirror. And so
that's what I feel based off of the specs
that you should have had.
I mean, that is,
and that's
like watching a TV.
That's off the chisel. What's great about it is you can go normal mirror, you can go camera mirror. And what's nice about it is when you have people in the back, like kids and such, or balloons or sport equipment, whatever, you don't see that behind you. Now, it's pro and con as a parent, right? So if your kids start hitting each other, you can't see anything. Yeah. Kind of a pro, actually, not really a con. But the other thing is, as like you're driving, backing up, whatever, trailering, you can see the trailer.
Yeah, sure. All that. I mean, I just like the fact that you can see that much of your trailer past the tailgate.
Right, and with the
check on load, check on your straps to see if.
And then you can see, like I said, the bed. We can show the bed view, so you can see.
Yeah, the bed view is awesome as well.
Yep. So
because the bed view can actually show stuff on a trailer that's, you know, on a much longer trailer.
Yep. And then there's this view too, which I haven't decided what to do with it. There's that. Oh, I guess you're in gear. We put it in park and let's see if
neutral. Let's see if reverse changes.
Yeah, reverse does.
That's my typical view.
That's your typical view.
And then park. Oh, that's like the video game. This is the truck you have selected. Yeah, right. So it's this view. It's in park. It's a camera view button, and you can change the color of it to set whatever setting color your vehicle you have, which is interesting. Oh, that's cool. You're like, oh, I have a green truck.
Yeah, my kids always mess with me. They change it and they don't tell me. So yeah, it's an interesting camera view. I'm not sure where I would really use it, but yeah.
It's more of a fisheye lens. Cool.
Okay.
All right. Let's see if I see anything.
I have the Charger too, which I don't think you have.
Thanks. That being said, on the previous model, I also found it was aftermarket. In the center console, you could replace the kind of the plastic elements and wire it back into the cigarette lighter with the charger. Yeah. And that was awesome. And I like that, and I really wish I could implement this feature, but I've also heard that it doesn't work that great. No. It's not. No,
so, I mean, when I used it coming up from Texas when I bought this truck, we bought our trucks about the same time period too, both at the end of December, because we both have business reasons for buying a truck. Yep. And yes, we buy trucks all the time, and yes, it's affordable, and yes, it makes sense in business, and thank you for commenting. But I found when I drove back with a map on, or like with the podcast plus the phone, I was killing my phone battery.
Yeah.
So I had to actually plug it in.
I found that as well with the aftermarket center console one, that it really couldn't keep up with it.
Well, what's interesting is it's also the charger get really hot too.
Yep. Very hot.
So we actually noticed that with the GMC Sierra Ultimate the charger for the phone is actually cooled a little bit. It's really interesting.
Very refreshing for the phone.
Yeah, the phones love it. Okay.
I can already feel your suspension seems a little stiffer.
Oh yeah, because we have, this is the TRD off-road package in this.
And you have that slight lift adjustment
yeah,
or
so
leveling.
It's like inch level, whatever on the front.
I will say the fact that I've adjusted my seat, and while it's, maybe I need to spend a week in it, but I like the fact that you can, well, adjust it down to the millimeter or so, versus having the delineated notches of where your seat's going to fall into place.
Right. Manual.
On a manual.
Yeah. So you bought an 8-foot bed because you were going to not use your trailer all the time. You want to haul some stuff with it, right?
Yeah, I want to haul stuff. Typically it's with the tailgate down, so I have the extra 2 feet, and I have items that are either 10 feet long or 12 feet long, and I wanted to not have 4 feet hanging out. Instead, it's just 2 feet. So yeah, I wanted to explore or live with a truck with an 8-foot bed. And
so you have,
what's my perceptions of that?
Yeah. And we talked earlier, we both owned older Tundras.
Yep.
And now with this new electric power steering, we both find that steering is, on paper, it should be worse than prior generation. But I don't know that we both agree with that's really the case in the real world. But parking, you said, was kind of an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think that comes down to the 8-foot bed, longer wheelbase.
Yeah.
What I've learned from, the interwebs is, you back into a space. And while I used to back into spaces just for convenience, anyways, now it's like, it's a necessity. You go to your hardware store or market or whatever, and I'm typically either pulling forward or backing into a spot. The departure on once you leave is that much easier. I never even realized that. But trying to park the truck into a spot is, it's like somebody in a golf cart in a hallway and going back and forth.
Right.
That being said, even on my old 2.5 gen, I still they didn't park very easily.
Yeah, I mean, it's never, I mean, I drive full-size trucks all the time, so I don't really pay that close attention to it. But Ford is the only brand I know of that actually puts an additional motor inside the steering wheel.
Yours is louder.
And that actually goes in the, you think it's louder?
Yeah. Do they feed in?
Yes, it's fake exhaust note.
I hear that.
But you're smiling about it, so it's not a bad thing, is it? So let's argue about this, or let's discuss whatever. I've made a case that fake exhaust note is stupid, but it does give you more of an appreciation for the engine a little bit better driving experience.
It's definitely stupid, and
it is.
I don't know. It's.
But you kinda, I'm telling you, it's stupid.
I noticed. I was like, wait, is that your vehicle actually performing more, or something wrong with it?
Oh yeah, I chipped this. No, I didn't chip it. No, I mean, it's a fake exhaust note, which comes through the JBL speakers, right? So if you get the, I think it's JBL. Yeah. One more time. If you get the upgraded audio package, it feeds that through the speaker. Now there is no way to turn that off, by the way.
Okay.
I've done some research on it. There is a way to do it, excuse me, with the dealership scan programming tool, but there's no way for the customer to do it on the infotainment screen.
Gotcha. Well, as of now, we're going about 60, and on the concrete, it's got the expansion joints where they lay down concrete in sections, and your truck seems to be driving really nicely. Where I have some strong thoughts and experiences on the concrete expansion joint freeway systems. It's not on all the concrete. It seems to be wherever they laid the freeway, where those joints are a little bit shorter in breadth. On asphalt, they both drive very similar, which is awesome, by the way. I really like the way my truck drives. Your truck drives the same.
So the audience understands, one of the reasons we're driving is not just for the fake exhaust note, but also he's got the longer bed, and we're kind of curious. One of his complaints was the ride quality on separated concrete like this, and so we came to the spot.
a little feedback on this, but I don't know. I think the engineers or whoever does the testing needs to visit some of these places of freeways that it's not safe the way my truck drives on dry pavement on the concrete, let alone when it's icy and snowing. It almost feels like the vehicle's floating in the rear, but all over the place.
Okay.
It's the best way, and as well as the vibration that comes through, it would easily give someone a migraine if it's a hour's worth of that driving. Do you currently have the lane assist?
I do.
I felt that.
Is it on?
It is. That's one thing I actually turned off because I just didn't like it.
I will tell you this. I don't love those features either. But you were talking about going to Kansas with the wind. I'm gonna tell you what. Turn it on. Lane centering assist will help you stay in lane and battle the wind better. It'll make you less fatigued when you get to that location. Gotcha. When I drove up from Texas through Oklahoma and the wind was howling like crazy from the west, well, that lane centering assist, it used the sensors above the mirror. They kept me in the lane better, and I was not as tired when I got to the hotel because it was battling the wind with me.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, again, you can turn them off, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I've learned that there's actually one of the issues we talk about a lot is the sensors getting iced up in the wintertime.
Oh yeah.
There is regular cruise control too.
Okay.
There's adaptive cruise plus regular cruise. You just have to
hold
hold down the cruise control button until it goes to regular cruise control.
And I gotta be honest,
I'm waiting for you because I can tell that the exhaust note's kicking on. I'm like,
I hear the exhaust notes, but I actually think mine's faster.
Oh, okay.
Like mine, when it accelerates, it's like, it's like Marty McFly and hit that flux capacitor. And
are you different drive modes than I am? Are you doing sport?
I only do eco.
Okay.
I only do eco because I'm such a MPG person.
So you think that's fascinating because I'm in normal driving mode because I always drive normal, just whatever. But this should be faster with normal versus eco with this, so especially with the throttle response.
Right. The throttle, the engine noise or piped in. That's a strange thing to develop and to integrate into a vehicle when there's a lot of other things that I think would be much more important.
Yeah. I can get a couple cowboy hats. All right, I think I'm gonna skip that other truck so I'm gonna really use it. But all right, we're in your truck. That's it's like laid back. Not laid back, but it's so dark in here. It's so interesting how much the Panama roof plus tinted windows. Sure. When you tinted these, what's percentage? Doesn't it do a percentage of tint?
I did whatever's close to my rear, and they had some special UV rated.
Oh, rated.
Like, sure.
Yeah, whatever.
$20 more.
So I don't have manual seat, right? Seat. So how's it up and down? You don't have up and down at all. This is it, man. This is it.
Yeah, so I hope you like your sea height.
Yeah. So I'm saying a little bit higher, but we're not going to talk about that. All right, so let's move along to it's a special modification. So it's custom. Let's so yeah, this is this. I want to show you this. So no, there you go. You have navigation. You had the guest mode profile pulled up, right?
Yeah, and that's how it's always prompted, but I have...
Did you do the driver profile thing?
Yeah, it has... Let's see.
That should be there. So yeah, you're right there. Now, did you link this to your key fob?
I don't know.
No, so you're not... There you go. They're going to be logged in there. I'm going to try to get... I'm sorry the screen's flashing like this, just what's going to happen. So if you go to personal profile... and link key.
Oh.
So if you link the key...
Is that going to be a good thing, or am I going to mess stuff up?
Well, all right. So here's how this works. And let me get my other phone because I want to be able to show you this up. Yeah, we're going to turn some AC on because it's getting hot. In this. And my camera's probably going to explode. But anyways, it's right here. And you have to go into profile, link key. The interesting part is it only works with your one key.
It's fine.
So you got to remember that key works with that profile. Like, so I can't get my secondary key to work with my profile. But if you link that key, then when you get in with your phone and your key, it'll load your profile up automatically.
Interesting. So one of the things that I don't like in here is occasionally, at least once a day in a trip, well, it'll register my phone, it'll link my phone, but it plays the music out of my phone, out of my phone speaker.
Oh, does it?
Yeah. So yeah, I'm listening to my music, but it's coming out of my phone speaker, not my phone.
And you have an Android phone.
I do.
So have you noticed this? What I've noticed is that if you want this system to read the text message out loud,
yeah,
you have to turn down the radio first, then text message, or does it play the same volume?
I just read the text message.
You don't have it play to you?
I've had it play. I don't recall what it actually.
Oh, what it did.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I remember one of your videos went over the fact that it auto turned down. Yeah, auto volume down.
Which is a small thing, but when you're driving along and you actually want to hear something. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so you have, this man is so prepared. Last night, he has a list. He typed it all out.
I was like, if Tim's driving all this way from my neighbor state,
right,
great state of Nebraska, that I should probably do something other than just comment and like and
subscribe. There's a comments, like, subscribe.
Yeah.
I have to deal with it.
So I kind of wrote out a list. Got about 14, 15 things, and some of them, there's going to be people that are like, "Wow, who is this guy?"
Yeah, but I tell people all the time, like, when you buy a brand new truck, and I think people that comment on that don't buy the brand. When you buy the brand new truck, it's the small things.
Yeah,
it's small things make a difference.
And you actually said the first thing. So I've only owned used vehicles in my life.
Okay.
Only used vehicles, and one of my first Toyotas was the 2000 black SR5 Tundra, and I think I got around 100,000 miles on it. And so it was used, and then my next one was a used 08, right around 100,000 miles on it. Then my next one was a used 014, right around 100,000 miles on it. But due to the current used market, I just tested it, and we had a Sequoia and a Tundra, and we threw those on Craigslist, and kind of what I would consider a high price point, and they sold as is, and that's actually the only reason that I'm in a new vehicle. Without those transactions, business, I wouldn't be able to afford a brand new vehicle. So what I have a new truck.
Hell yeah.
Is that because it's Toyota? No, it's a new truck. Second thing I like, 8-foot bed. I wanted an 8-foot bed. I like the 8-foot bed. So I like that I was able to get that. It's kind of a unicorn. I use it for materials, and I like that extra space and extra gear for camping, bikes, gear, whatever it may be. Granted, they don't have toppers or accessories for an 8-foot bed yet, which I think I'll be waiting for a while.
Right.
Let's see, next thing I like. Interior and overall design on the interior. Though there is some gloss that's down by the shifter that I feel like if you look at it wrong, it may scratch. So I don't really like that part, but I love the cockpit, as I call it. The hard plastics, while they're still hard plastics, they're a little softer. The overall feel of it,
and that right there.
This space here is awesome.
There. Yeah. There's a smaller screen.
And I think actually my dash is a little different now. Looking at yours, that space you couldn't have that. You'd have to switch out this whole trim piece. So I do like that. Let's see. Next one. It's fast and powerful. I like its pickup. I like I don't floor it a whole lot, but when I do, it cooks. I really like that part of it. I love it on the towing the trailer. anything like that. There's no qualms about anything with power. Another thing I love, how well it handles at high speeds in the canyons and tight roads. Overall, how well it handles going in and out of curves. Does really well in snow with just stock. I like most of the smart features, the braking, safety thing. Pulling up to something. Oh, you're getting a little too close. It brakes for you.
Oh yeah.
I like that. I like the cruise control radar. The sound system. It's good. It's better than the last stock SR5. Like that. I think the brakes are awesome. I think they feel solid. I think they are real nice and smooth how they interact. I love my 100K warranty.
Right.
Toyota gave to me, customer loyalty.
He had a bit of an issue with the mirror, and so they gave him a longer warranty with the mirror.
I was like, all right, fair enough. I like the bed delineations with the blocking of the sections, so you can actually fit 2x4s in between the bed and delineate, like quarantine off groceries from other gear or gas tanks from other things. I think that's really a really smart feature for them. And you could really kind of build out your space.
Yeah, you can make anything you want back there. You can build a whole contraption if you want to, like overlanding, that kind of situation.
Sure.
Because nobody likes, motor oil with their eggs.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Or just stuff exploding everywhere.
Yeah.
So I like that. It tows well, really well, and I can get 16 miles per gallon towing between, northern Colorado and Denver, and that's a great thing. And maybe this has nothing to do with my truck, but I'm excited for when they get the TRD suspension lift kit to the marketplace. Hey, I'd like to be the first one. Call me. But I'm really excited to implement that. Keep going straight.
Yep.
And so I'll be interested to implement that once it's there. I know it costs an arm and a leg, but I like what comes with that kit, and the fact that it's Toyota branded or developed. So those are kind of some of the things that I really like about it. Some of the things I don't like. How the truck handles on concrete freeways in certain sections of the expansion joints. Hopefully we'll be able to experience that. I actually haven't felt it since we've been on the road. But it's bad. I think it's borderline a safety thing. Another thing I don't like, true MPG, not exactly close to the EPA. I get 19 miles per gallon at best on an entire tank. Now there's times when I'm driving down to Denver, I'm getting 22 miles per gallon. But when I go through that life of that tank, it's not, you can feel a little.
Yeah.
Little. That was a little bit. That's a taste.
I have noticed that as well with my initial fill up, my initial mile per gallon first 50 miles, it's really low a lot of times.
Okay.
And then as the tank goes,
as your weight's less.
Yeah, I tend to go high. Yeah, it frankly, because gas weighs, it weighs.
Sure. Let's see what else. No bed step. Well, I'll be remedying that here in a couple days. So, access to the bed. That should have been planned out, guys. No tow hooks. Okay, that's an issue. And the funny story on that, I was coming up Rabbit Ears Pass, and some guy was on the side of the road, and he had gone off the road, and he flagged me down. I stopped, and I can get a little vibration right now. You feel it?
Yeah.
Because my voice is jumpy.
Yeah, I can watch the camera too a little bit too.
Yeah. So we're gonna try to stick around 75 and get the real nuance of that. But anyways, the guy's like, yeah, I went off the road. Can you pull me out? And I was like, hey man, I don't have front tow hooks. Sorry.
And he walked around to the front of my car. He's like, "Who makes a truck without tow hooks?" And I was like, and I also, more importantly, he didn't have straps, and I didn't have straps. So even if I could have backed my vehicle up and pulled them out if I had straps. So not pinning that entirely on the tow hooks. Next thing, for me, in my case, no standard power seats, yet there's a powered rear window. I'll swap you, Toyota. That, you know, to be honest, I like my manual window because I could have left it cracked and, you know, can access it if I'm camping in the back and I don't need to power it on to power it up. And anyways, I guess that's not a big deal. Also, seems like the truck doesn't respond well to wind. I think there's a lot of stuff happening under the truck, like noise. There just seems to be, it's not loud, but there's just noise. There's just feedback compared to my last truck. Infotainment system's kind of less reliable as far as syncing than I think it should be. Sometimes I get, it syncs with my phone, no problem, but then it starts playing the music out of my phone's speaker. So while I see all the info in the infotainment and I can change the song,
that's a lot worse, right?
Okay. That's not even it.
That's not even bad. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that was I was like, I could feel that truck skipping a little bit. It felt like on the back.
I really hope we hit some section. So that's really annoying. You know, I have to stop the truck, turn it on, let it repair, maybe once or twice. A smaller back seat legroom from the Gen 2 or Gen 2.5, 1.5 inches. That's annoying.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't point this out, because I did have a document put in my face that the Tundra actually, from a head standpoint, has the same amount of legroom in a double cab as competitors do, actually a little bit better.
Okay, yeah.
However, that's great. I just feel like the rear legroom is the real culprit.
Right, and I think a lot of that is them trying to get you more interested in the crew cab with the 6.5 foot bed potentially.
Yeah,
it could be marketing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I understand business. I'm a business owner. And
right.
There's some of that. Let's see. The reduced bed height is by at least 1.5 inches. So the bed height is, in the current model, is 1.5 inches at least lower than the old one. So let's say I put a topper on it. I have 1.5 inches less space between the top and my bed.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought that up, and I hadn't thought about that.
There's a little bit more of that.
Yeah, it's definitely, this is not. Yeah. You did bring up, I need to measure my bed again. I need to go get another stock. I need to get a stock like 21 and really measure, because it is interesting you brought that up. But you know, the fact that you're at the same height and you're able to reach in different ways. Yeah. The bed, I mean, it really proves that it is lowered. I never noticed that.
And mind you, it does make it easier to reach in and grab something.
Right.
So in that sense, that's cool. But I'd rather have that extra 1.5 inches of material encasing whatever I'm carrying. There's some road business. There you go. That's it.
Yeah, that's.
But.
And I know you have a longer wheelbase with the 8-foot bed and double cab. I know the wheelbase is probably at least 10 inches, maybe even a foot longer. But I don't know if that's stock Tundra or if that's TRD Tundra.
I don't know. I hope it's stock. I hope it can be improved by upgrading tuning suspension at some point.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, I'll actually go from like sometimes ho-humming if I like my truck to being like, oh yeah, 110% I love it.
Right. If you customize just a little bit with the new suspension kind of stuff.
Okay. Another thing I don't like. Sometimes my 8-foot bed.
I mean, that's why I asked you about it, because it's such an interesting source of contention.
Yeah.
You know, I've had 5 beds forever, and I've never carried anything I really need. I need an extra foot for. Chief engineer needs an extra foot because he has a snowmobile. He wants extra.
Yeah.
He's got to fit it in. You have materials. You need a longer. I get it, right? It's just, but I don't like parking an 8-foot bed. A crew, and especially if you go. I've had some Silverado 2500s with 8-foot bed crew cab. That thing's a boat.
Right.
I mean, it's hard to park those, and so
it's definitely a challenge, but you learn to live with it.
Right.
It's fine overall.
I always get that truck,
source.
and then I get like a Mini Cooper next week to test out.
Right.
And I'm taking out curbs all week long.
Oops, sorry. Let's see. Next thing. Sometimes when at crossing traffic, I stop, and I'm getting ready to go, and the turbo seems a little hesitant, and I need to go. You know, we need to get across that traffic, and that's not always, but it shouldn't be there at all.
I wonder if that's because you're always in eco mode.
Maybe
Try that normal around town. I wonder if that, because it should make a throttle adjustment. I don't think it should do any turbo lag, but I think what your experience is, it's not turbo. It's maybe throttle response.
That could be. I'll have to test that out.
Just
and this is more preference. Gen 2 2.5. The center console had more room inside. You can bury things in there. People, whatever. This one's smaller. So that's just...
It is, but do you like the his and her kind of armrest situation?
Oh no, I love it.
Okay, all right.
The compartment itself.
Right, there's no volume inside the compartment.
Yeah, I had a toolbox or bag that I had in my old one that could sit upright. In this one, it has to lay down.
Okay.
That says a lot. Let's see. I kind of like the Gen 2 2.5, that is. The exterior modeling, a little bit better.
Yep.
I don't not like my exterior finish on the current one. I love it. I just prefer the other one just a little more.
Okay.
So it's not... doesn't kill me. Yeah, just the miles per gallon overall, you know, I really am mindful of achieving best mileage. Otherwise, it doesn't. And that's kind of sucky.
Did you give thought to the hybrid, the iForce Max version?
Price point, no. And couldn't come in the 8-foot bed. And
the fuel economy really not that much better.
Right.
Okay.
And quite frankly, I sold my Tundra in October. I needed a truck.
Yeah.
And, well, there we are. Let's see. And I already mentioned the black tabs of the headrests.
Yeah.
Maybe not being the safest design for your head. I think that's definitely, out of everything, I think I think Toyota needs to look at that, because yes, your seatbelt and your airbags are going to save you, but when your head, if you're in a real abrupt stop, I think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I completely agree with you on that headrest issue. I think that is, I mean, that's an engineering thing that they could either add more rubber to it or add more, move them back, or different size, or, I mean, that's something they can take care of.
I mean, they're pretty beefy. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my, overall, I love the truck.
Yeah, I think, it's a solid truck. I've people ask me if I hate my truck, and that's never the case. I don't love any trucks because I have to sell them, right? So, I mean, that's my thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like it. Interesting that your auto start stop worked, even with the AC on. So my auto start stop, I never really can get to work because I don't push on the brake pedal enough, and I have it says climate control override.
Right. I've tried to figure out that whole auto stop and start. I like the feature.
Right. So we have AC on.
Typically, in the cold weather, it doesn't stop. It has to be warmer.
Right.
And
typically you have to have driven long enough that it feels that you have enough charge that it can.
Right,
It'll kick on here.
Right. So and
there you go.
the other thing you'll find too is sometimes so now it's off for climate control.
Right.
That's interesting that it popped on. People ask me about it all the time, and there is a new starter, and no, it doesn't hurt the engine. Engines are meant to run. Actually, I think it's the opposite happens, where the longer you park a vehicle, the worse the vehicle goes downhill because more stuff goes wrong with it. So yeah, you definitely want to drive it, and you definitely want it. But auto start stop's not on or off. I suspect it doesn't save as much fuel as they want. However, I've heard from different engineers and stuff is they get an EPA credit when they put auto start stop vehicles,
right.
And so
sure emissions.
Oh yeah, it's not going away. It's the brands aren't going to take it out. No. They're getting a credit for putting it in, so it's going to happen.
It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
By any means.
But people will put the flag in the ground, and that's...
Oh, yeah. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't stand it.
Every time you get in the vehicle, turn it off. Now, Jill doesn't like it in Chicago, and the reason she doesn't like it in Chicago is some systems, there is the turbo lag that she feels like it's turbo lag, but really it's a hesitation the engine turns on. Yeah. And so that creates an issue. I will say the hybrid version of vehicles will do a lot better than the regular gas. So hybrid, you're going to run off battery a lot more. So you won't have the same hesitation.
It'll be smooth and quiet as it transfers.
Right. So there's that there. But I've never had a problem with myself. But I'll be curious. You have to hit me back on that driving mode in town.
Yeah,
because you are an eco, and so I'm curious if that's a driving mode situation or if there really is a turbo lag going on.
And that's occasion.
Right.
But when it happens, it's like, come on, let's do it.
Yeah. You have a sense of urgency. You got stress because people are right next to you. Yeah. That's why I moved from the city. I think we covered it pretty well.
Yeah.
I don't think there's much else that we can talk about. I mean, the smaller screen is interesting. I like how it's integrated in the dash a little better. This is more like the GMC Sierra screen and the way they've done that screen. But yeah.
There's the maps. I like the maps.
So that's your screen, and it's just it doesn't sit above so much. So mine sits up here or like this a little bit more, and I think that's a little bit of
there. And then of course comes to
right.
You can see where they pull out the material. You know, it's this whole block will pull out, and then the next one goes in.
Yep. Interesting. All right, there you go. There's our thoughts on the two trucks together. Hope you found this video interesting, and well, if you didn't, sorry. Go ahead and put the comments down below. I'm curious guys' viewpoint on that is. Check out other videos over here, website down below as well. As always, thanks for watching. We will see you down the road.